Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Two Clicks from KO. We're back. Oh man, it's been a while. I've been on Pat's show twice recently, but I haven't recorded any of my own. Now, part of that is due to COVID going on. Part of that I had some computer issues, and the COVID it relates in a weird way. So my son basically took over my desk uh, this became his school desk, and I was basically kicked off my computer. So I got two kids. They had to finish school, but guess what? Now they're done. I get my computer back, and so we're back to recording. So today I brought on with me a very special guest. He hasn't been on the show in a long time.
Yeah.
New set was released. I like to have this guy on when new sets come out because I like to laugh at him. It's the one and only Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos.
There we go. Hey, people. I am back once again. Let's see what I can do here.
Let's see what he can get wrong and get right.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Oh man. So yeah, we don't have a lot of content to talk about. Now there's a lot of like online tournaments going on through different Facebook groups and stuff like that. Those are kind of hard to keep track of for me because I'm not in some of those groups. So I wasn't even aware that some of them are going on. So we're not going to talk a lot about those unless Edward knows any ins and outs of some of those. I know PJ's involved in a lot, so maybe I'll get PJ on sometime soon and he can kind of talk to us about some of them.
Yeah. Esteban won the throwdown, the Texas throwdown yesterday.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So and I also got picked up by Clixman. So look out for that because that's a good group of dudes to be part of. So add in, Dustin Cedars. So
yeah,
they're building up a roster, Michael Love and all that other goodness.
Yep. So that being said, there's not a lot of news coming out of from WizKids officially, but JLU officially dropped recently. I managed to get my hands on some. I did like a 45-minute live unboxing of 3 bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Edward, I don't know if you got a hold of any of that.
No, our locals have none because Diamond sucks, and that's why. We get all our stuff from Diamond, and Diamond did not respond to my local shop's distribution request. So
Diamond and Alliance are sister companies, right? So they just started getting back to work, I believe, on the 20th or 22nd, 20th. And then first week of comics was the 27th. It could be something like with the distribution issue. I know our shop got some. I know that the Alliance warehouses are running low, and WizKids was working on that looks better. WizKids was working on a restock. That's one of the small pieces of information that WizKids has put out recently, that they're working on restocking the Alliance warehouses. So look forward to getting your hands on some of that if you haven't already. Sorry, I'm writing our start time.
Oh no,
Edward and I have been recording for 30 minutes before we started.
Oh no, it's all good.
Clix talk.
It's like in the unedited show that will probably never be heard.
We went off.
Oh yeah,
maybe one day I'll release bloopers one day.
One day it's like, remember back when all that stuff was going on?
Yeah,
it's like we talked about it.
Yeah, so it's been a crazy year, man. It's been a very crazy.
Oh, I like this year and hate it at the same time. So I teach speech and debate, and I'm doing summer school, and I just finished up summer school last week. So I just hit summer break. So I'm just like, yeah, I haven't felt this in 10 years. Previously I had to have a job. It's like now I get paid to sit on my butt. So I'm a bit happy about that. Also, with the COVID stuff, working with the kids, like it's sort of a hustle. Like I'm on that teacher end doing all that those things. So between summer school and everything else, I've been busy too. And like last night, your brother was like, "Oh, dude, I could finally breathe for a little bit. And then I found out, like, the couple of debate leagues I was trying to get my kids into, they're like, well, we may not have debate next year. I was like, oh, come on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I've been trying to find leagues and solutions. And so I've been hustling too. Plus,
You can do online, right?
yeah, actually,
Video conference format, maybe?
I think that may end up being the reality. Like, everybody gets bused to school. You pick them up from the school when you're done. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to go travel. Everybody just, it's like, all right, you know, be in this conference room at this time. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, my son was doing they were doing Zoom, which is not the most secure.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
But I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. He was doing Zoom meetings Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 every day. And then he was getting packets. He had a Google Classroom set up. He's
Mhm.
7, man. He's 7, you know? And so then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, luckily, my girlfriend was mostly working from home. And then on days she wasn't. My daughter, she just turned 15. She's able to help him get on there. But then it's like, I get off work because I've been working this whole time. I get off work, and then I'm like, okay, now it's time to go to my second job as a second grade teacher. You know, I'm like, I'm vastly underqualified, but let's do this. And
Yeah.
not to mention, my student doesn't respect me because he normally doesn't have to. No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's different when you're teaching other people's kids, man. Because I do I don't do like official lessons, but I've taught some kids to swim in my pool.
Mhm.
And like, let me tell you, man, other people's kids, they listen to you a lot better than your own, for sure.
Oh, hey, I have a nephew.
Yeah.
So I haven't experienced that end yet, where they
Yeah.
completely don't listen to me or hate me yet. So my nephew he's one of my number one fans. So there
That's
we
good.
go.
That's good.
All right.
But yeah,
So go ahead.
what's up? No.
Uh,
What's up?
oh, I was gonna say, when we hit this Justice League, man, I'm gonna
Yes.
be honest with you.
Okay,
I
let's get into it.
I have some things that I believe that are controversial.
Okay.
They're they're a little controversial, but I think they're justified.
Okay.
I really do think they're justified.
Okay.
So I'm ready when you are.
Yeah. First talking point. Go for it.
Okay, Doctor Fate. Doctor
Yes.
Fate is meta so high into the
Yes.
sky that I feel that he will be the first $5 common. Like, Doctor Fate is great.
He already is, isn't he?
I don't even know. I haven't looked at the prices. I figure when everything adjusts, everything goes down. So I pretty much thought everything is under inflation anyway.
Let me check my HeroClix stock market report, aka eBay sold, aka eBay recently
Oh,
sold.
dude, yeah. I was going to say, crises have made my stocks go great. I've made some money.
That's good. I
Yeah.
have not. In fact, the my 401k was vastly demolished. I lost $10,000 in my 401k.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's bouncing back. It's bouncing back currently.
I'm not lying. I'm tempted to take money from a couple of my retirement things and just be like, look,
I did
right now.
I did borrow against my 401k. If you're gonna take from your 401k, do not like just withdraw it. As like a 25-year-old man, please listen to me, people. You can borrow against it, and a lot of times you basically set up the terms of your loan, right? And how long you want to pay it back, and you're paying yourself back, right? So that's the thing. So I borrowed against it.
We are not financial advisors.
Yeah, for sure.
This is not financial advice. Aaron does
disclaimer.
not get sued. I listen to a lot of financial people. They always say that.
Yeah.
So okay, so while you're looking up eBay,
Dr. Fate, most recent sold $695 plus $275 shipping, $599 plus $395 shipping, $11.99 plus $3.50 shipping, $7.49. So yeah, man, he's up there.
Yeah, Dr. Fate. I mean, ring the bell. This is your prize bull. Like, let's go. Dr. Fate is meta. Like, and Dr. Fate has the ability to bring Justice League like up there. Now, I said this on Clix Fix too. I was like, I prophesied long ago the Justice League would be good back in 2015. Give me enough time. It came to pass. Okay, so Doctor Fate is going to be competitive. You're going to see people run Fate, run a bunch of Fates.
Five, right? Five's the target number for most squads, I think.
Uh, Let me see, because I know
Because you have to play the main one, and then you play 4 additional, and you get
plus one
action total plus 1. If you have 5 plus, you get action total plus 2.
two. Yeah. So when you look at that, yeah, you're paying 115 points for plus 2 actions independent of
105. 105.
oh 100 no for 5.
No, because you include the 65.1.
Yeah, I know. It's 65 plus their 10 points each, I thought.
So 4, so that's 40. So
No,
105.
No, I'm looking at 5.
It's 65,
Plus
10,
50.
10, 10, 10. No. I'm talking about 5 total. Because you
Oh,
only need
okay.
5 total.
Oh, yeah. So the base, I'm looking at the plus 2. So the base is 50, and then you add the 65. So you're at 115. So like 115 points for plus 2 actions, not including your leadership. So you can potentially get plus 3 actions.
It's plus 5 including the big one. It's not just the duplicate.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just add.
It's characters named Dr. Fate.
Okay, I was wrong in how. That's even better.
Yeah.
That's better. Hey, again, I come on your show, prove that I was wrong on something. Okay, we're batting 1,000 people. We're batting.
No, but that's a small.
Yeah, but you look at what Dr. Fate does. Number 1, he has TK. Number 2, he has enhancement. Number 3, he has mystics, and he has ESD. Right. Sorry, that's just a bunch of goodness right there.
And let's not forget that a lot of retaliators rotated out or will rotate out very shortly. With Avengers Infinity gone, a lot of those, and like the Mighty Thor. So now we just have the X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga set, which, don't get me wrong, there's still some great retaliators in that set, but you don't have your Groots, you don't have your Mangogs, you don't have your Surters, you don't have these things that are like wiping squads by themselves, right? Like Dark Phoenix is scary, Magneto's a little scary, but they're not as bad as some of these other older retaliators.
Yeah. Iceman is a little scary too, but even still, Iceman only is scary to other retaliators, and when there's not a ton of other retaliators, Iceman is like, okay, he's okay, bro. You know what I mean? And you're not calling him in off the ID, so you're not getting that as well. So like I said, Dr. Fate. I mean, heck, I undersold, and I called it even when I did the review that this dude is going to be on top and be expensive. So my next one, my next pick for this set is Prime Batman.
That's obvious. He's been talked about everywhere, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think once you start breaking down the fact that they still didn't give him an errata, like I think they want him to be broken.
So watch this. So watch this is quarterly, right? And a lot of people forget this actually. Watch this is a quarterly thing. So we're coming up on July. So I wouldn't be surprised if end of June you see like a watch list. We're watching this figure, and then maybe July, beginning of July, we see like, okay, here's the errata.
I would normally give it to you if we were on normal schedule.
Sure. No, absolutely.
We would be getting ready for Nats.
Yeah.
I would normally give that to you, but since there are no major tournaments outside of a handful of states, ooh, I disappeared. Woo! Outside a handful of states, no, I think they're going to get ambushed at Worlds.
Okay.
I think after Worlds they're going to start making decisions because they're never preemptive on anything.
Okay. Yeah, you got to prove it's broken. You know.
Yeah. Because they're like, some online events just he didn't show up. It was Immortal Hulk and all this other stuff, and then Chase Widow. But yeah, my other. Like, I have some other, like, nice picks. I don't know if this is going out on a limb or not. Joker is meta.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm with you on that. I love this piece. Maybe not like he maybe doesn't win worlds, you know what I'm saying? But I totally can see him taking down some maybe a state championship, you know,
Oh yeah,
maybe some WKOs, something like that. I think the ability to bring more of these shape change, uh, poisoning, plasticity, sidestep, stealth, leap, climbing, bomb blowing up characters on your force for a relatively low cost, and you don't score them when you knock them out.
right.
Like, oh my gosh, it's like that's devastating, man.
It's
It's
devastating. Yeah.
devastating.
And so I look at this whole entire field, like when I look at Joker, I'm like, this is what Injustice League needs. If
Yeah,
they only were built on top of Joker and Lex.
yeah.
Like Justice League, Injustice League was designed to be built on top of this Joker and Lex. Oh
So
my
the
gosh.
Injustice League does get Amazo. They do get
No,
Sinestro,
Amazo
Salmagundi,
sucks.
Star Sapphire, Ultra Humanite. It's a good piece.
Amazo
Uh,
sucks. We know it's true. We know it's
yeah,
true.
I look in certain formats, like your popper formats
Okay.
and things of the sort. I think he's good.
Okay, I will give you Popper, but we
Uh,
all know Chase Widow just came out
oh
and
yeah,
just took that stiletto heel to his face and said,
yeah,
"Sir, not
and
today."
we don't have that that turtle effect, Bizarro Green Arrow effect, right? The like, what if somebody plays this? You know, people are playing Black Widow. Like
Yeah,
it's not up for debate. They're playing it. You know,
right.
so yeah, it's tough. It's tough for me to get behind. That being said, I do have the Amazo Flash team up card, so if you guys want to buy it, it's up. Premium price.
You should have sold it back before everybody knew
I
about
got
Chase
I
Widow.
I I got offered 75 for it recently, but I'm being a greedy Gus.
Dude, I take it.
I know.
I take it, dude.
All right,
Because the
if you want to buy it for 75, hit me up. I'll sell it to you.
There you go. All right. So I like overall. Uh, I before things popped off, I was pro Amazo. I even played him in an event.
Sure, yeah. He
But
was good before Black Widow came out.
before Black Widow came out, the moment Black Widow came out, I was like, oh, dude, this I'm not going to try to collect this outside of fun.
Because then
Like,
he doesn't do anything other than
yeah,
take one damage at a time.
right. And even Wes Summers and I were talking, and Wes was pro 125 point Amazo, and I was pro 100 point
I
Amazo.
like 100 points. If I'm
Yeah,
playing a maze, I'm playing him at 100. That's
yeah,
solid.
we're talking about pros and cons of it, and I fundamentally liked it. What I didn't like was WizKid saying you don't get the rest of your sideboard because you have these cards.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because then it's like, well, it's weird because you don't choose which team up card you're using until the beginning of the game, right?
Right.
Okay, but then it says during forced construction, you have to choose why these characters are on your sideline, right? So let's say, as an example, if I'm playing the Trouble Alert Flash, right? And that's the character I'm putting on my sideline because of Amazo's team up card with the Flash.
I didn't
Okay?
even think you had to have it. I thought you just had to have the.
You have to have Flash on your sideline.
Oh, it does. It says that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you have to have a. All right. If the listed character is on your sideline, Amazo can you? Okay. So
Okay.
it has.
So
It
let's
has to be
say
a
I
fact.
don't use. Let's say we start the game and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to use the team up card this game. Can I then trouble alert my Flash in? The
Mm-mm.
answer is no. Right. So it's like it's tough because I think it's poorly constructed in wording. I think that it should be more clear because I think that's the misconception a lot of people are having too, is that you know what, I can just play it or don't play it. Like no, if you do that on your sideline, it's gone. But that being said, if you're not playing Jason Wingard, right? Um, and you're not doing like shifting focus, like your sideline's pretty free because there's no more ID cards in the 300 point modern competitive meta, right?
Right.
So then it's like I can do like trouble alerts, who a majority of competitive players feel like a lot of times end up losing you games, or I can play a Mazo, which, Black Widow aside, and I can just use my sideline. So I think what we'll find is in the 300 point modern popper format, a Mazo will dominate. I think that's what we'll find.
I will give you that.
Um,
I will
because
give
the
you that.
the only drawback I see in him is versus like something like Nimrod, where the feedback damage is an attack damage, so he would take the full amount and things of the sort. So,
Ooh, I didn't think about that. That's a good call.
yeah,
And Nimrod, in my
Nimrod
opinion,
does it to the constructs too.
yeah, Nimrod and Popper looks like he had some new assets
I was I was
lately.
top I was top four in California states with it, or
Oh,
or, or
yeah.
no, I'm sorry, I not top four. I played different. I played Nimrod in Majestic's event, and he was popping off, man. I won a game without attacking.
Oh,
I, I'll just put it that way.
yeah.
I scored like I scored like 90 points that game, but that's beside the point.
I I have my own favorite combo of him with Trick Shot.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's like, oh, did you make that shot and it wasn't a pulse wave?
Uh,
Congratulations. Trick Shot says no. It's like one more thing to just put on them. Like, uh, there you go.
so
Suck it a little bit more.
so getting back to the JLU, we
Yeah.
called out the commons. Um, what I find really interesting about this set, right, is normally what we're used to seeing, and we do still see it a little bit, like with the dark side, right? Is DC will have these big boomy figures. There's these like 200 plus points with like really steep values, and we don't really see that a lot with the set. We see actually a lot of low point stuff. Like I actually really liked the what's her face Star Sapphire at 30 points with the TK sidestep, shape change mystics. She's got where she can use precision strike and give him tokens. She's got the Injustice League shared trait, where she can token a character that's 100 point or less. Which, I think moving forward because of Black Widow, we're going to start seeing a lot more characters that are 100 points or less in the game, like be the competitive meta.
Mm.
So it's gonna be really interesting, man. It's gonna be really really interesting how Justice League and Black Widow shape up the meta moving forward.
Oh yeah.
Um, I like the set, man, as a whole. I think it's a lot. I think it's really fun. I think a lot of these characters are really well designed as far as like accuracy to the show.
Oh
Um,
yeah. To the
I think
show.
the
Yeah.
I think the research was like really put in, and I like that. Um, I think there's a little bit of everything in here. Like there's good popper stuff, there's good modern stuff, there's good Bronze Age stuff in here.
We have
Uh,
we have to talk about my boy Question.
Question. Okay, let's
We
get
have to
into it
talk about my boy Question.
because I think he's another one that is like a standout in the popper format.
Okay. I believe Question can be played in 300 point meta.
Okay.
Now, hear me out. The main reason I believe this is Question solves all of his own problems. He's stealth. He makes his own stealth.
Uh-huh.
He outwits. So automatically right there, the average person should be like, Question, he's good. Okay. On top of him making his own stealth,
He's got
he
Indom too, so he can
he's
get where he needs to
Indom.
go.
Yeah, he can get around, and on top of everything else, he is able to replace the die roll. And it's question authority, power. If there are no d6 on this card, roll a d6, place it on the card. Whenever a character within 6 squares in line of fire makes an attack roll, you may remove the d6 from this card and replace a die in the roll with it. Now, I know some folks will be like, that's a bit restrictive because you need to be on an openish map. If you're playing Batman, you're playing Prime Batman, and you're playing Batman with the 80 freaking bazillion Dr. Fates, guess what? You're going to be on an openish map, homie. You're going to be on an openish map.
Yeah.
So let's not shuck and jive about it. He's good. And I keep seeing all this hate about my boy Question. And I must say, yo, it might just be a conspiracy. It just might be a conspiracy. He's good.
You're saying it's a HeroClix Inner Circle cover up?
Yes. It's the Slaminati. It's a
Yeah,
Slaminati.
Slaminati.
It's the
Yeah, man.
Slaminati.
I when it came out, when it was previewed, I was like, "Ooh, I like this piece." You know, I like this piece a lot. I think it's really cool, man. I think there's some tricky ways to get him to work because a lot of people they're more worried about like, oh, but he can be shot or he can be whatever. But let's say Avengers are big right now, right? Let's say you're playing Captain Steve Rogers or whatever the hell his name is that makes characters Avengers, right?
Uh-huh.
You put him on an Avengers theme team, then you put the Black Widow Shifting Focus 001 on there, and she says, if you got stealth, guess what, homie? You can't use improved targeting on me.
Yep. Right there, your opponent's at a disadvantage.
Yeah, so then it's like, oh, okay, and then you have Coulson who can carry your team, and Question just
too.
I think the big drawback to Question is that he doesn't automatically reload the die, I think Q does.
Yeah, but you're not losing a prime slot, and
you're not losing a prime slot. You're also not paying $200+ for the figure.
Right. Okay. And when I said Islaminati, it's like salami and Illuminati mixed together before.
Yeah, no, I know. I didn't get it.
Right. So here's the issue. You are seeing events. Hell, I think even the Texas Throwdown was like
they're online, right? But you don't have to own the figure.
Yeah, no, I mean this is like the winner gets a queue, and you have 40 people show up. Like that's a lot. And when you look at some of the limitations that Q has that Question doesn't have. I can equip Question. I can't equip Q.
Right.
Okay.
I can attack with Question.
Yeah.
If I really need to.
I really need to. Yeah. And you can even be more specific. It's like Question can haul around a light object all day and then snipe a dude.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that you can do about it. Okay. If you hit Question for 3, he's still around. Okay. Yes. So when I look at folks just saying Q's better, I'm like, I understand it from a point cost perspective why you're saying it.
Well, and Q has prob with a big range. That's relevant. He can't be outwitted. Okay, that's relevant. So I don't mean to mix facts and say that Question is as good as Q.
I'm not saying I agree with you on that.
I think Question is a reasonable poor man's choice if you want die manipulation.
I think here I'll take it a step further. When all is said and done, Question will bring Justice League up from B- to about B+ A- competitive, along with Fate.
It's like a 1.5, tier 1.5.
Yeah, because you start looking at Justice League, instead of being like, here's a couple of big guys and there we go, Justice League is turning into the Swarm.
They're turning into if you took all the Trouble Alerts and play them on their low end dials, I'm not gonna lie, man, that's a legit team. Especially in a format where we don't have ID cards, we don't have as many retaliators to worry about. I ran a limited format league for 6 months, right? Last year, and the first event one was Apache Chief, Flash, Green Lantern, Robin. I want to say maybe one more character. All the Trouble Alerts. Huh?
Was it Firestorm?
No, it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
I want to say it was Black Lantern, Flash, or something.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. It was a Flash God of Death.
Okay.
Right. So Flash God of Death aside, those 4 Trouble Alerts, right, on their low point dials, it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't kind of good. It was good.
No, people sleep on Apache Chief.
Oh, that's my boy right there.
Once the big man tokens come out, dog, he is rolling through teams.
He can.
But look, if we start doing the math of the amount of figures that are sub 50 points with Justice League.
Yeah.
There is a lot. There is a whole lot. Like for Fate to make me completely disregard Zatanna, even at 50, is an accomplishment. Okay, so when all said and done, when we look at, I think the future of Justice League is maybe like plus 10, plus 11 Justice League. With you're looking at Prime Batman, possibly maybe some other options. You could have Dr. Fate, but you could spam some very nice characters. And in the back are two Apache chiefs, the nut chucking. You have to get through all this other stuff, and then, I killed out 20 Fates. An upchuck charge, cross map,
boom,
and then you're just getting hit, and you're just like, "What's going on?" And then you have Billy Batson's just like, "Power of Shazam!" Perplex.
Yep, that's true.
I mean, you have so much.
Even Robin. I really like the Robin chase because
I do too.
He comes back. You know what I mean? He comes back. So it's fun.
Yeah.
That being said, I do have one problem with the set.
Go ahead.
And I think a lot of people, I don't know, some people will probably disagree with me, but I think a good amount, it's probably 50-50 split. I do not like the distribution of team up cards. I think
I've done shows on this.
You get about 8 per case. I'm trying to think how many did I get. Maybe more. There's 120, right? How many team up cards is there? There's a lot. Right? And not all team up cards are created equal, which is fine. That's fine. I get it. It's a collectible game after all, Hey, quiet down. It's a collectible game. So it's really tough. But to me, it's ID cards 2.0, but worse, right? Nobody wanted to spend $80 on the Atom ID card, right? And now we have if you want to play it that route, you have to spend $40 on all these Amazo team up cards, or $10-15 on some of these other ones. I don't know. I think it's really cool, and I think it was a good effort for WizKids for what they're trying to do. So I think it was a good effort by WizKids, and I think I get what they're trying to do with the collectible part of it, right? And they did a whole article about what their reasoning behind it. I just think in a way it's kind of fun because for those people who really want to collect certain things, it's gonna be really tough, and it's you don't have the stock available to just go buy more boosters, right? Currently, you don't, anyways. So now I'm buying them secondary market, and I'm paying, and I'm guilty. I'm trying to sell my Flash ID card Flash Amazo team up for $75. It's capitalist America, homie. But
I'm not hating.
But it's I don't know, man. It's tough, and I'm not normally the one to complain about that sort of thing, right? Because in the past, I'm always it's a collectible game. But I don't know. Just when you have 120, and the distro is what it is, I think it's kind of a fail.
Okay, so initially when they started all this, I said to myself, if there's a team up per booster,
you're fine.
Random team up per booster, I'm I am for this.
Yeah, it could be your common, uncommon, or rare.
Yeah, and it can be even more so. It's a character either in the booster or a random character from something else, and you just.
I think it would be better if it was a character not in the booster, because then, so their reasoning was the trading, right? Well, if you don't like this character, you'll trade with your friend. Oh, I pulled this Lex team up card. You pulled so and so. I got this in my booster. Let's trade. You know what I mean? That builds the community at least. But it's a failure as a whole. When you don't do it that way, I think.
Right. But here's the more so interesting thing: they lost a grand opportunity because their whole chance to see how this was going to play out in sealed competitive play is gone because of Nats, and they would have had firsthand experience about how does this actually affect competition, and they don't know, and they have to wait till Worlds. The other thing that I said is, from a mechanics perspective, WizKids said get rid of print and play so that we can then sell you product.
Yep.
And that to me is annoying. But when I take away my annoyances, I'm left with a lot of questions. My
Yeah.
first question for WizKids has been: do you plan to introduce other cards that I can get to the same character? Because if so, I would appreciate that. Okay, like take Question for example. If WizKids was like, Question is really not that popular, let's put out a Justice League card pack, and for the same amount of points, for
Sure.
the same amount of rarity, let's reimagine Question. What else did he do? Remember when that episode where he was just by the board showing like that conspiracy? Let's just turn that whole scene into a mechanic.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when Gold Amazo pushed Oa back? Let's completely redo his
Yeah.
trait. His dial is the same. His dial is the same, but we're going to redo some traits. Same thing with Standard Amazo. Like, issue a new card and just be like, he's Robot, he is Injustice League, he is Monster, and he's Cosmic. Okay? Because he goes into space at the end.
Yeah.
Okay? And then just be like, here you go. Here's your Halloween Amazo card. Have fun. You can introduce them into prize support. You can diversify the meta and keep the value of old boosters so that it's not a year later and everybody's like, a store's not, man, I really got to get rid of this set. You could just have like the 1 year later scene.
Right.
It's like, boom, here are all these cards. And these are cards for sets that we released 6 or 8 or even months or even a year ago.
Yeah.
And so
I
you can
think
see
I,
some flexibility. Go ahead, sorry.
I think that's a good. I think that's a good suggestion. My worry, and I've voiced this on a few different episodes in the past, is that then we're that one step away from removing the dial from the game. You know what I mean? And I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Functionally, we
Uh,
have.
yeah.
Like functionally, we have. Like, and the only thing the dial does now is officially count
Yeah.
where you're at.
Where you're at. Yeah. No. And I've said that in the past. And all you need is a little slider on the card that says, "Oh, I'm on click 1," or put a die next to him. I'm on click 1. I'm on click 2. I'm on click 3. Put a die next to your figure, right? And then you can look at the card. Oh, on click 3, I have this.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can have somebody say, I have an app. You can have someone eventually say, look at me, here is like a page to keep track of your
Yeah.
opponent's click numbers, and it's on a nice little Excel grid for you to print out to take to every event. Like, we could go on and on. WizKids has created a point with the current rules that the card is the important thing.
This was my biggest fear when they originally wanted to put the cards or the dials on the card. Because to me, it's not HeroClix. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's fine. Maybe I'm an old head, you know, in a way or whatever. But it's like, for me, part of the fun is what's on this dial, right? Let me see. Let me see. Oh, okay. Oh, shoot. Oh man, does Hot Girl? Man, how many clicks of life does she have left? You know, like that. That to me was part of the fun of the game. And then you're removing a lot of the guesswork, which I guess is good for newer players, right? But and it's fine. Like I'm not that person that said like it's ruining the game. Don't get me wrong, but it's like for me, part of the fun is the mechanic of the dial. And so with what they're doing, and people call me crazy, but I think they're getting closer and closer and closer to just being dice masters. It's dice masters basically. You have different cards for the same die, right? So think of the
Yeah.
figure. Think of the figure as the die, and then you just have the cards, the different rarity
Yeah.
cards.
I brought this up when I was talking with ClickFix.
Yeah.
Is that they already have experience doing this with Dice Masters.
Yeah.
They know how much money they can make with it.
Yeah.
Because think of it like this. They just, the next time they want to do it, they don't even put the cards in the boosters. They say pay $5.99 for a pack of 10.
Yeah.
Guaranteed one rare or super rare.
You don't even do that. They already sell board games, right? You sell the box set. Here's your 45 figures, right? All the JLU figures, right? And because we look at the uncommon and the rare green arrow as an example, or the rare common and rare Mazo. Same sculpt, different paint job on the Mazo. The green arrow, I believe, is the same sculpt. If not, it's very similar, or it's been used in the past, right?
Amazo's the same sculpt. I
Yeah.
think Green Arrow, like there's a bunch of them.
But
It's sculpt
okay,
reuses Whiz
so
Kids.
so
Yes.
instead of doing that, right, just make one each. Boom, here's your box set, and then you sell expansion packs. Justice League expansion pack. You know, with it's like think of like your Cards of Humanity expansion packs, right? So you have the base set game, or
Yeah.
a legendary. Legendary does it, right? So you have your base set and then expansion packs. Here's the cards. You know that. I mean, I'm WizKids. If you're listening, don't do this, but
Dude,
but they
they
totally
won't
could.
because they have to pay you.
Yeah, but they totally could. No, they won't pay me.
Well, there's issues, but here's where it all comes down to for me is if they wanted us as players to like reinvest and double down in the game, and they were going to say, look, how can we stay profitable in the current format of coronavirus? And sorry, I use the C word. If you want to edit that out, let me use the C word.
Fine.
Sorry, it's YouTube. I forgot YouTube rules because I'm thinking podcast rules.
You can't say it on there.
No, like you could get demonetized depending.
I don't monetize anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't either because reasons. But
I want to say whatever the hell I want to say. So
there you go.
This is
But
not for kids. So,
but when you go look at the reality of coronavirus and you're dealing with having your major manufacturing in China, eventually you are going
China.
China. Yeah. You know what's funny?
The hard cha.
Yeah, you hear Nicki Minaj say that the same way. I forgot
Totally
what
different context, right?
Yeah, it's and then I just want to be like, I wish I could mix Trump in with that. But going back.
Oh, we totally could.
Yeah. So here's here's the issue. If nationalism rises, I know this isn't a political podcast, and push back against China happens more, they're not going to shift their production from China. What they can do is easily make their cars in the United States and have the same profit margin or even a greater profit margin. And if they're in the other countries, once they get shipped from China, you can print the cards in those other countries, and the cars can even hit, like you can pre-sell the cars before the set even comes out.
Yeah. You could, and like I said, it's so easy. Like think about Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, whatever, right? They do 9 to 11 cards per pack, something like that, for $3-4 a pack. Do that, man. Do that. Do that. You sell, like I said, you sell this box set of 30 figures, right? All it is 30 figures in a box set. They already do this, like the nano figures, right? The metal, the little aluminum or die cast, whatever they are. You can buy like 5. It's like 5 for like $8 or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously, we're not doing die cast. We're gonna do plastic because it's cheap, and then we're gonna do a 30 pack. It's a box set. It costs you $20-$30, right? It costs WizKids $1 to make, and then we sell, however many, 10,000, we'll say. We could put those in Target because it looks nice on the shelf in Target, right? And then right next to it, you have the expansion packs hanging. Here's the Justice League Unlimited expansion pack. Here's the whatever Arrowverse TV show expansion pack, and all you're doing, you're taking the same miniature, cutting this part off, right? And then okay, hot girl from this, now hot girl from that, now hot girl from that, and you're just using a different card.
I mean, and this is another thing when we start talking about the modern dice. I mean, not the modern dice, the modern bottom of the click. They're so much easier to get off that even if WizKids wanted to, they could ship a modified packet of 10 cards or
Switch Clix, right?
Yeah, of 5 cards, 5 dials. You pay $7.
Mm-hmm.
and people would do it.
Yeah,
And
you
you
just
would
have
just
the
be like,
figure already.
pop it off, put it back on, and ready to go. And you just make sure it's super easy. And this is and that's the sad part of the game is if I remember back to looking at my friends playing Star Wars minis back in like '05, okay, they pretty much just had a miniature and a card. They had like a big old
Mm-hmm.
card, and then they would just be like, he took this amount of damage. They had a little piece of paper and they would write down, it's like, well, he now has force push.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's legendary Luke Skywalker. Before
Yeah,
Lucasfilms hated
yeah,
him.
yeah,
You know, you might as well, because then you can charge the same amount of money you're doing, at unlimited amount of cards, and there you go.
yeah,
When you literally have your opponent's team sheet, all you are doing and writing down is, oh, he has Amazo 1, Amazo 2, Amazo 3. He has Wendigo 1 through 5. And I mean, and the Colossals might be the only ones that don't get that treatment. And even then, WizKids might be just put out like giant size Dark Phoenix Saga, you know, support, you know, whatever it is, and it's like
yeah,
$15, 3 random dials.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, hey, it's like, oh look, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Dragon is now good.
Yeah, and you don't have to redo the whole sculpt, right? That's the best part about it from WizKid's perspective. You don't have to spend that plastic money.
Oh yeah,
All right. Any closing thoughts on JLU? Now that I've sounded off and kind of.
oh yeah. Fair warning: Ace and Micron coming to a venue near you, and I know there's a lot of folks out there blowing their money on the chases. I get you. I get you, fam. I understand why.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm going to give everyone a caveat. You know, some prices for things may go down because of lack of access.
Sure.
That's it. So just be aware, like, we are still sort of in pre-release prices, even though
Yeah.
the set is officially
Right
released.
now we're in limited release, is what I would
Yeah.
call. Yeah. Yep, I agree. So we've got some questions for the
Yeah.
chat. So the first one would. Oh, let's see here. Oh, kind of similar related to what we're talking about just now. John Eric Hafford says, "Do you think that online games that allowed players to use figs they did not own helped or hurt market value prices? Set desirability since you could play with the figs you hadn't bought yet, and sells for WizKids since you may only buy singles instead of packs after playing with the figs online and maybe losing desire to buy boosters. Hope you're both doing well in this troubling year."
Okay. I'm willing to answer that.
Yeah, go for it.
First and foremost, I think what online play did was make Chase Widow and a few other handful of characters increase their value. That's what happened. But if you look at like my boy Dr. Fate, I don't think online play increased his value. I think
No,
what happened was he was a character that required a lot of generics.
I,
Now,
I
go,
think, I think, I think the thing with Doctor Fate is he's kind of like you need like that Kenny Pena level player to play him. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of stuff to do, and there's too many players in the game that don't play fast enough to play effectively with it.
you need high puppeteering skills with a good
Yeah,
turn
yeah,
awareness. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. The other thing that I would say is when it determined, like, we're still in a baby Nexus form of the meta, okay? And I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Dustin Cedars. Dustin Cedars has been making the meta, because if you want to know the man that was popping off and making the Chase Widows actually worth that much, it was Dustin Cedars and the Clixmen, okay? Because they were running through pods with her. Okay, you can say also, look, man, there's the analysis, but the double Captain Marvel with what's her name? Sorry, with Chase Widow was a strong build to deal with. You have two Chewies on your butt, the two perplexes, two probs, plus the outwit, plus the negation. You're
and free
in people's
damage.
face, plus the free poison if you drop the initiate. I gotta be honest, the boy Dustin Cedars, He popped off the meta. Now, at the same time, you also have some other builds that are on the come up. Give shout outs to my man Wesley Allen Summers with his Exodus build. It's great. Nobody was talking about Exodus before, seriously, before he played it. Okay,
Robert
so,
Gallagher played it for a couple events too.
right,
Just to give due credit, Robert Gallagher played him early in some Majestics events.
yeah.
Uh,
So when we're looking at prices and we're looking at what people are seeing as valuable, I
uh,
think we're still in the nexus. We're the beginning of it because the taste is still being made because the teams that are popping off now are going to be the gatekeeper teams.
yeah. And
Okay, go ahead.
and to add to that, I know a lot of people, and I tend to do this too. Is they don't build with figures they don't own, right?
Mhm.
And so, given that and about where we are in the world right now, and in regards to how can I get a hold of this stuff, like you said, your local store didn't get JLU, right? So I'm assuming they also did not get Black Widow, right?
Oh,
Which
my Target didn't even get Black Widow.
okay, so you may not have access to that figure, and so you're not necessarily aware of what it can do. Like I know you are because you're in tune with the community, right? But not a lot
Some
of people.
days better than others.
Sure, but of course I'm the same way. But like the thing is like a lot of people they don't know. Like my guy Randy, for example. Randy's I would say 2 years into playing HeroClix.
Mhm.
He's got a decent foundational game, right? But then like if I'm talking about like a figure, you know, like whatever figure, like why do you want that figure? What does it do? And then I tell him like it's this, and this. Oh man, I didn't know you could do that. And I hear and see that all the time, all
Yeah.
the time. And so like I think that's like where you don't. There's that disconnect, right? There's that disconnect between like the team building, the tournament reporting, because we don't have like, and a lot of credit goes to you on this, like the Rock Talk, right? The Corey, or
Yeah.
we don't have like, or like Majestics only covers its own events now, like, and like we don't have that reporting that even I used to do event coverage, like, and I just can't do it, especially with these online events. I can't even keep up with them, you know?
Oh, dude, I have the running tab in the Phoenix Nest Discord of
Yeah.
like I have my whole entire team's like, Edward, when are you going to do one of these events? I'm like,
Oh
I
yeah.
did Eagles Cast, and it's
Yeah.
like, Edward, we
Yeah,
know.
no, I
Come
know,
on,
I
buddy.
get it, I get
You
it.
need to do another event, buddy. So like I have some pressure on my team, so I need to find another event to get in or two or three. But the going into that last part, does it discourage people? And the answer, in my opinion, is no, because when everything is free, everyone has luxury tastes.
Hmm.
Okay, and trust me, this is a man that's used the game genie to cheat in Pokemon when he didn't need to. Like once you get that first hit, it gets real hard to get off that hit of
Mm.
like, hey, I have a Sand Slash with Ice Beam plus Surf and Hyper Beam. It's like, hold on,
Yeah,
wait, I don't think he's supposed to have all that, and he has
no,
Fly. He has Fly just because to spite, that one gym leader. Once you get on that and you get used to the fact that I can have 10 or sorry, I can have 7 Brainiacs on my sideline,
mhm,
and that's just a reality. I think
yeah.
that's a heavy dose of crack in that system.
Like,
Now,
damn, that worked, especially if you win, right? Man,
oh
damn, that
yeah,
works so well. I really want to own these pieces, but I don't want to pay $60 for Captain Marvel, and I don't want to pay $80 for Black Widow, especially Black Widow, when I could just go buy a case, right? A case on the
you,
gravity
you
feeds.
might you might get a widow because of Taskmaster.
No, a case is two.
Oh yeah, cases too. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Right.
sorry.
So assuming your local game store gets them in, you can go pre-order a case for probably 140, 150,
Yeah, you
maybe
can.
160 at the most. And you guarantee the widow, right? And you get all the other widow goodies that come in that set, and that set's it's
So
not
it's not
bad.
bad. It's not
Not
bad.
bad.
Let's get a review on it. It's not bad. It's not rainbow magic, and blue clovers and freaking
Split,
horseshoes and
split,
moons.
split with your buddy. Like me, my brother got a Taskmaster. I got a Black Widow. You know, like hey, between me, my brother and I, we own it. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
my brother doesn't travel and play competitive. I do. You know,
yeah.
so
But
well,
but
not so much these days, but
but here's the thing, and this is where I can understand the concern being at from the question.
yeah,
When you start talking about those commons and uncommons, though, that experimentation that you can do in locals, because the local judge is going to be like, everybody has to play cat people. So you go pull out that
yeah,
one Tigra that's good, you
yeah.
know,
Like
what, or
Chase
like,
Tiger, or you know,
yeah, it's like, oh, everyone has to play flying people. And then all of a sudden
you gotta play nothing but dudes in wheelchairs.
oh, yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Then you're like, oh my gosh, I found this combo for this format. And then you get to actually play with your figures. I think that's that point where you're making your necessity your virtue.
yeah.
Like, I have to be honest, previously, I never bought blind. And in my current format, where I pay $5 to play and they open up a booster or two every week and you get to pick, your boy has been coming out bringing the hot fire. So
There
I
you
don't
go.
have to pay more than $5 to get most of what I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah,
So
we stopped
going
doing that
there.
locally and not being braggadocious because I won too often.
Oh yeah, I mean, I let them know. I let
Yeah.
them know. Do not ever raise that point value above 400. The
Oh
moment,
yeah.
and do not make it golden age.
I tell people if I'm not gonna have fun playing, nobody is. I will make that team. Oh,
now again, I'm also like pro build your community, and
yeah.
I take some step back and I let them know like this is why
I
you
am
love.
too. I am too.
But
Just
but boy, when it comes down to it, and they're like, we're playing for we got Justice League in. I'm like, I will completely Optimus Prime shift into Megatron. I will freaking become a
hey,
Decepticon real quick.
look. When it comes time to play for a Galactus, you better bet your boy's gonna bring the heat. You know,
Yeah,
but like when it's we're gonna play for the monthly OP figure that, and we have so many OP figures and not enough players that everybody's gonna get one. I don't need to bring that.
I don't.
I
Yeah,
don't. I
even
don't.
if I
I'm gonna
get the booster, I'm like, I have all this, and I
yeah.
have the OP
I
figure.
give it away. I give away the
Yeah,
commons and uncommons most of the
yeah.
time.
There's a point where you're like, don't be greedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta move on.
Question.
Craig Landers has a question. It's addressed to me. It says, how do you maintain top level play, a family, and those trademark good looks?
Oh yeah.
So
You. I don't have
let
to.
me tell you, the easiest one of those is the good looks, because you know some people they're just born with them.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
No, but on a serious note, to actually answer this question, because it is relative. Like it's not easy, bro. It's not like the main thing is like what kind of like well income dependent, right? Like that's a big part of it. I don't have like a large income like uh maybe someone like Scott Crampton does, right? You know, or some, you know, David Newark or somebody like that, right? Like where they have the disposable income. I don't. So for me, it being a family man does affect my ability to go out and play. And like the more kids you have, bro, you need more money. Trust me. So you don't get to spend the money the way that you used to. Add a mortgage payment or something like that on top, and it's totally different. So what I do is I keep my ear to the ground as far as like team building and stuff coming out, right? Like the majority of us do. And then you gotta play. You gotta play often. You gotta play local. Like not enough people play local, and I know what they say is like, oh, it was easy to win. Sure. So challenge yourself. Play something you wouldn't normally play. Don't take Captain Marvel, Black Widow, uh, Coulson, and Punisher War Machine to your local
Yeah.
event. Play something fun and see if you can win with it. So I don't know.
Yeah. I know. Even with myself, uh, I I balance working at a school, mentoring kids, running a team. Uh, Before coronavirus, going out salsa dancing and working out.
Yeah.
Uh, Coronavirus killed my game so hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like I haven't gained weight, but all my muscle turned into fat so fast it was fun. It wasn't funny. but I think one of the key elements is, what does your time management look like?
Yeah.
Like, you don't micromanage every day because then that becomes a horrible life experience. But
Sure.
what are you doing that is going to be profitable for you today and tomorrow?
Yeah.
I remember listening to a preacher tell me a long time ago. He says, wealth is what you receive today that you didn't earn today, that you paid for a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that, you have to start asking, like, how much am I managing? How much do I need to manage?
Right.
What are my important projects? And am I on a path that I enjoy?
Yeah.
Because the one thing I will say coronavirus did for a lot of folks, just sort of realize how many
Some
things aren't important.
some perspective, man. Some
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. So take inventory of your life, homie, and figure out, like, and I know it sounds cliche, it's like, am I being my best me? And do I like who I am? Am I moving in a direction that I want to go into? And if not, go do something else and cut
Yeah.
relationships.
Yep. It's
Uh,
like Michael Jackson said, right? Starting with the man in the mirror. You gotta look at yourself.
oh, I thought you were
Uh,
going to say.
let's see here. So Rick Ryan says, "What is your preferred format? Modern, limited, golden, etc." So that's an easy one for me. What's yours?
uh, Modern, because I know my level of shenanigans can be turned down.
Uh-huh.
Like if I go into like limited or even golden, I'm like, I become like a grand lich in a D&D campaign and you're level 5. It's like, oh crap, we stumbled into that. It's like, run. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Freeze. Now die. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't like it because it's not fun for them. And I can see it on my opponent's face. It's
Yeah.
not fun for them.
For me, my favorite is limited. I like limited because mostly because I don't like ID cards. Um, I think Adam Friedman said it best. If I can play a 120 point figure for 5 points, I'm gonna do it every time. You know, and like regardless if it's only for a turn or like if you have something like a Quinjet where it becomes permanent. I don't think it's like a balance. It's balanced in the way that everybody can do it, but it's imbalanced in the way that it almost neutralizes um the better play, right? So like if I make a play positionally that Edward was not prepared for, and then normally that would be an advantage me, right? Advantage Aaron. But Edward says, "Oh, but by the way, I have Magneto wanted ID card on my sideline,
Right.
and I just call in Magneto and pulse wave your whole team and kill them all." And I was like, "Oh, well then, okay." You
Right.
know, like it's not rewarding enough for the better player to make better plays.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. Your boy Matty G says, "Why aren't either of you playing in the online tournaments?"
I told you. I told you, my boys. I told you my boys are gonna be on me.
Yeah.
I did too. And I haven't done any more. In
It's fun.
all fairness, one of our team members, Tom, ran a tournament,
Uh,
and I played Cosmic Panther at full with Indigo Battery because mistakes were made. I made top 4 and I was happy. so so yeah, Matt, I'm gonna play another one. I'm definitely gonna play another one.
I I'm not a fan of Roll 20. Oops, I shifted my camera. I'm not a fan of Roll 20 personally. I don't. It's not fun for me. It's like pretty bland as far as like the looks go. I'm not like. Let me ask you this, Ed or Edward.
Mhm.
What's more fun? Clicking the mouse, click to roll dice, or going. I need a 6 or higher to do 3 damage for knockout here on your $200 Q prime that you somehow got reducer on, and then roll that die. What's more fun? I mean, anxiety is one thing, but what gives you the bigger high? Rolling the dice, man, for sure.
I hate to say it. I live almost all day, every day in some form on Roll 20.
It's
I
fun.
guess I'm used to it. At that point where I was just like, this isn't fun. I don't like that. I fully understand and empathize with the position. I think for me right now, I'm more on that. I'm not spending gas money, and I'm going to get
Oh yeah,
prizes.
no, there's definitely upside to it.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. When you start putting like cash money up, right, or something, like it's a little bit more enticing. But that being said, it's like I've also played in Roll 20 events where I've had connection issues uh, between either my voice or Roll 20 itself.
Oh yeah.
Uh, B, it's like I play subpar because it's not a format that I'm used to playing, and I'm not entirely like invested in it. Like with the Majestics Bronze Age one, I'm paying $5 to play, man. Like yeah, I can win that nice Majestics map. Don't get me wrong, they are nice and they do look good, but like it's $5.
Yeah, it's $5,
Like
and
I
and that's the part that gets me right now is the price to entry is so low that I just sort of don't care.
yeah,
Now what makes me laugh personally is that most of my matches get streamed and then put up on YouTube, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm sort of trolling, and everybody's going to think that I completely suck. Like
yeah,
that's the part that I have to get over. I mean, it's like there's things like, oh hey, I'm not 100% serious, or I messed up, and like for the Eagles cast one, and I'm not making excuses, Eagle cast crew, for why I did poorly. I'm not making excuses. I man up to my loss. I take my shots, like I said before.
yeah, yeah,
But um, coronavirus was popping off. I had to go to Kansas City to fix my dad's computer because tax season was picking up, and he had hardware failure. Okay, so I couldn't remote in from Tulsa, and I already was sort of thinking about it, but I wasn't really quote unquote thinking about it. And then it came to be like 5 minutes before deadline, and I just shot something out that I didn't talk to most of my team
yeah,
members with. So, did I deserve to get my butt whooped like I did
yeah, for
against the
sure.
Hellfire Club squad? 100%. And I will not come back and say, "Oh, excuses. I messed up." But at the same time, at $5, I'm like, yeah, it's $5. Like I could spend $5 on worse thing like Twitter or not Twitter, Tinder or Bumble to see some chick that I really don't like and regret it. At least this time I get to play HeroClix.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know, man. And the other part of it is like to be fair, like I'm not in a lot of groups, because like pretty much I really only use Facebook for HeroClix, and then like to goof around. And I used to like to play games and stuff on Facebook. It was fun
Yeah.
back in the day, but Facebook is turned into a cesspool of
Civil
just
War.
civil war and and a lot of shit posting, virtue signaling, etc. And you do what you do. I don't really care. And I don't like to be in a lot of groups. I get added to a lot of groups without people asking me, by the way, which is totally rude. By the way, please quit adding me to groups without asking me first. Uh, but these things are not publicized like we talked about earlier. We don't have that one-stop shop where it's like these are the events going on. I never heard of Clicks in it for a while till recently, to be honest with you. They have their event. Texas, was it Heroes Throwdown? Didn't even hear of it till it was halfway through.
Oh yeah, the Texas Throwdown. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. Like, I don't spend enough attention dollars on it to get into tournaments. I know about Majestics because Pat is my friend. It's like, I mean, people play from all over the country, but Majestics is here in California. I know about it.
Yeah.
You know, It's just one of those things, man. Like where, and even then, I don't play because it's 9 o'clock at night, and I get up at 4 in the morning for work. Y'all night owls, you can do your thing, man. I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to be up till 12, 1 in the morning, and then sleep 3 hours and go to work. I'm an old man now. I got kids.
The scheduling does matter.
Yeah,
The scheduling does matter.
yeah. Let's see, Randy Patton. What's your favorite team build you've played with? For that's for both of us.
Ooh, recently?
I think it's just period. Like, what's your favorite ever team you played?
Oh, ever or like recently?
It doesn't say recently. I think it just ever. Randy,
Oh,
like I said, Randy's only been playing a couple years. It's one of my locals.
oh gosh. I
I
have
think
two.
for me it's an easy one because it was my probably my signal flag, right? It was the zombie super scroll brother voodoo star labs tech and
Yeah.
blind L. Won me a regional with nearly 100 players. um I believe there was four world champions in the field, but world champions slash like wizard world champions. um and I like probably one of the most fun and well played events that I've played in. And yeah, man, like it put me on the map. Put me on the map, put this show on the map, because when I won that event, this show went from like 60 listeners to like 300. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was a big deal back then
This
when there
heck is a
wasn't.
big deal right now for HeroClix.
Yeah,
Like, I don't really think anybody breaks a grand views unless it's
yeah,
like a world event. And
yeah,
even on my world, like I have a couple of world titles up on YouTube.
yeah.
I don't even think they've gotten like
The
high
the
500s or something.
unboxings and stuff like that get
Un-
pretty big hits.
Unboxings are different because it's sort of like the kid watching the toy being
Yeah,
unboxed.
yep,
I think you get some bleed over between that crowd and the HeroClix players, but
right.
that's my personal belief. But okay, so I have two teams, and they sort of signal maybe not the best things about me as a person.
Uh,
Uh,
that's
team
okay.
team number one, actually three. Team number one was Master Mode with the Infinity Gauntlet before the Colossal rules changes.
Right.
Oh gosh, I love me some Master Mode.
And
He would come
like
in and surprise some
double power
people.
action, bring out sentinels and stuff.
No,
Or the
no,
multi attack, multi attack.
multi attack,
Yeah.
multi attack with some Sentinel love. He was great. And with the Infinity Gauntlet, it's like Master Mode has super senses. Master Mode, now has super senses and impervious because I hit God mode or whatever. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like all those things that I wanted with Master Mode was fun. Uh, my second team, it got me on the map for the phrase I'm hella biased is Brainiac Skullship.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, I love some Brainiac Skullship.
Yep.
I played too many competitive events with Brainiac Skullship for there to be any question. It was like Brainiac Skullship with the Ultron drone with Prostolite was like my best one
Yeah.
because then Prostolite had the heal if you take damage, like the teleport heal.
Right.
And so all I would do was like break down walls for Brainiac and teleport heal to heal Brainiac. And then with the cities and everything, he functionally gets double stacked.
Right.
Um, my last team, of course, Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda Forever. I played my Wakanda team. I ticked off my locals, and it
I
wasn't
love
even
that.
Cosmic Panther. Like you would think it was Cosmic Panther. It wasn't. It was like Shuri, Queen Storm, Prime Panther, and then the Fast Forces Panther, that Black Panther that increases attack, and
Mhm.
then Okoye from the Fast Forces. So functionally, I had TK, Perplex, Wakandan zombie warriors, plus I think I had the one ring that gives you stealth on Storm, and then the smoke
Nightbringer.
cloud, Nightbringer. I know, no, it's not stealth. The smoke cloud. Nightbringer, yes, Nightbringer, never mind. And then so I would smoke, and then everybody that's around Storm that shares a keyword with her within 3 squares has stealth anyway.
Nice.
And then I would just be like, yeah, I prob that. I make a Wakandan zombie warlord, a Wakandan warlord. Send out the warlord to tie people up,
Yeah,
and then
for
just
sure.
perplex to the sky, Storm, and she just one shots people.
Yeah.
It was glorious to the point where I haven't played Wakanda since.
Yeah.
So those are my teams.
It's good teams. Abel Alvarado Jr. says, what would be your counter to the Widow double Captain Marvel team?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Uh,
Oh gosh.
let's see. Let me take a look because it's been a while since I've looked at these figures. So, Captain Marvel is
The
since
one
there's
from Captain
yeah,
Captain.
since there's two of them, right? So
It's
that's you need to shut down two.
yeah.
So
There's
she makes the Chewy, right?
yeah.
She's got prob, she's got hypersonic speed. When she hits, blah blah blah. So nothing to stop her from plasticity, right? From plasticity slowing her down, so she can't fly through you.
I think she has.
She's a flyer, but
Yeah, she's a
that's,
flyer with the special hypersonic speed. I will say this, and this is how I look at Captain Marvel. Like, first and foremost, are you trying to zone Marvel? Are you trying to blitz Marvel?
mhm.
Or are you trying to survive Marvel? Okay. Those are the only three options that I see on the table. Because if you can control Marvel, you're stopping her from approaching a la Exodus, or you're putting
Yeah,
some sort of limitation on her movement. She is still scary, but she's a lot less potent because she, in her second turn, she needs to get base with your team so that she can either hypersonic speed, make that attack, plop down and stop, and then generate Chewie to flurry onto whatever target that Chewie needs to kill.
yeah,
Okay. So if you're able to stop that approach, it helps. If you're able to burst down Marvel, I would say this is where you need to establish how you're going to tag her 3 times in a turn. Do not half step it. Do not pretend to do anything else with it. Just straight understand that you're going coast to coast on her in a turn. And then you're
yeah.
going to then have to survive the other Widow and the Chewie that's going, Widow in Captain Marvel is going to be dropped on. Now, the last thing is just surviving, and there are a bunch of teams that just take damage. My only concern is in that slogfest between those types of teams. If you do not focus fire, you will not take out a Widow, or you will not take out a Captain Marvel, and those Captain Marvels will dance on those teams that are super survivable because there is no support that has a high amount of mobility or TK ability that's able to take a flurry from Chewie plus a hypersonic. Like it's just.
I
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think I know you're good. You're good. I think for me personally, um, I sorry, I got a message about that Amazo card.
Already.
Let's yeah.
Middle of
Yes,
record. We're not
it's still
live, people.
recording. How did that happen? No. Let's see. I think it's largely dependent on the way you like to play the game. Like for me, I play as a more defensive, positional player. We talked about like Doctor Fate, right? The new Doctor Fate. Hey man, that's a +3 to theme that you're going against, right? Play like +7, +8 Justice League team. Get your Inuk Chuck on. Get some barriers down. Pick an indoor map. Widow doesn't affect you if she doesn't have line of fire. Captain Marvel doesn't affect you unless she can get to you, right? You cannot hypersonic speed and break barriers or break blocking terrain,
Correct.
you know. So there's a for me, I would try to zone and focus down probably Widow first, and then um, Not because she's the bigger threat, but because I think just getting 100 points off of Widow would be really big. And then you can, from there, out action the Captain Marvels, hopefully. You don't want to get, what you don't want to do is you don't want to really run into the Chewies. You don't want to be going against these stop clicks and then just being a target after you hit them. So for me personally, as a defensive player, that's what I would do. But that being said, I still have to be able to beat every other team in the field.
Right.
So that's tough. Let's see here. We've got we're getting more questions as we are recording. So
that's hilarious.
uh,
People are like, "Yeah, Dark Logos is on here. Let's go."
Yep. J Major says, it's been asked before, but how does it feel to be recognized for all you have done in HeroClix community for being included in the Hall of Fame? That's to you, Edward.
Oh yeah, dude. Okay, so when it all started, I thought to myself, they're going to do this. I'm probably going to get in year 3. And my thought process was they were going to start it off with people that did super well. And then when they were like, hey, Edward, you're on here, I was smiling. And I thought about it, and in spite of all the other like side conversations, because those are smoothed over, I can understand why some people would say I belong or don't belong. I understand both camps.
Yeah.
But what I will say, and I'm glad to say, is like I'm still here. A, B, I still play. C, occasionally I still do a show. And I still run, one of the well-known teams in Clix. So if you were going to say, hey, he doesn't deserve to be there as a player, I would say is, look, man, I'm coach of the year, maybe of the last 3 to 4.
Yeah.
So it's like if you want to look, pound for pound organizationally, like we chalk up wins, like we have a whole list of our wins. Yeah. And I can say it's like, as an organization, y'all are just catching up. I mean, a lot of teams are just catching up to what I've been doing for the last 3 to 4 years. So at least for that, I felt in the back of my mind, between the quarry and pretty much innovating the modern HeroClix team, yeah, I belong there. Everything else, I understand people's, pros and cons.
So for me, it was not and I discussed this, I think, and I know I had asked a question to Pat on his show. Is like, to me, like, I think it's a really cool honor, and I don't think you're disqualified from it. But for me, it feels to me more like a Rock Hall of Fame than like a HeroClix Hall of Fame, right? And then like with Pat, I had the discussion where like there's like, if you look at like the UFC Hall of Fame as an example, right? There's contributor wing, there's like fighter, like the best fighters or whatever, right? And then there's like fights, like they have actual fights. So like for HeroClix, the equivalent would be like the best game ever played, right? Or like, whatever. There'd be like Pat. Like Pat is an obvious no-brainer for Hall of Fame, right? Three-time world champion, a bajillion Rock wins, no-brainer. And then like for me, you would fit in like in that contributor area. You're also a good player, right? But you don't have, 3 world championships.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times you're locking heads with Goku, right? And like, Goku's hard to beat, right?
Yeah, no. I will admit that.
You have the Quarry, you have the Starting Over podcast. You were on the show that was the catalyst for the East versus West Clix revival.
Oh yeah, that West
Coast, right? So like, I mean, like, if you want to look at it that way, like I think I don't think that you don't belong, but I think that the criteria is kind of muddied that they were going under, right? And it's really, to me, more of a Rock thing, because it's through the Rock. It's not WizKids Hall of Fame, right? Which doesn't make it any less, because Rock essentially is WizKids. They're WKO now. So it's like it's
Yeah.
not any less. I
It's its own thing, and I agree
Yeah,
with that. I think the one thing I want
but it's
folks to,
still an honor, man. It's still an honor. Like
yeah,
I'm not saying I deserve it to be because I don't.
I,
But
I'll I'll say this is that this is year one,
yeah,
and my personal like looking forward to this is we're you're going to see refinement. You're going to see a lot more people that are going to come in,
uh
uh, and the debate will continue. Like
yeah,
heck, like look at Lane's top 10.
yeah,
Remember that and that blow up
yeah,
that was. I think also what comes in as well is there is no focal point for people to say go to this spot.
yeah,
All here's this player. Here's my profile.
yeah.
Underneath my profile, you will see 500 games.
And that's what we talked about too earlier, right? It's kind of the same thing with the reporting of events, right? There's not enough coverage that's centralized. Like think of like a mainstream news type deal, right? There's like everybody listens to their niche news, right? Like it's the difference between reading your local newspaper and then reading the New York Times. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like so.
but
So,
that brings up an issue. And
but
if go ahead.
No, I say, but to the point, like, how did you feel? Like, I'm sure you were uh, happy, elated, surprised.
Yeah, and I would say the more emotional thing for me was doing the interview with Lucas
Yeah,
because it was sort of the this is the story of my team. And part of the history is me, but this is a story of Mace. This is a story of Phoenix Nest.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
a story of like you go from zero, nobody wants to join your team, to having a bunch of people and everybody trying to knock down to get on your team. So there's some things that I look in that where I can say is like I hang my hat here. I will stand firmly on this ground that if you want, one of the number one shoutcasters in the world to do your event, you call me Whiz Kids. You don't call these other cats you've been calling
yeah,
before.
yeah,
Like you call me. If you want to talk about, team organization, you call me. If you want to talk about my tournament history, I'm like, I'll take
yeah.
shots all day.
I think, and this isn't what the question was, but I think if I had one critique of the entire Hall of Fame, if my biggest critique would be, and this is on surface level, I'm not involved, I don't know the process, right? And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's a whole nother critique, but I do think that like Lucas is a pretty newer guy to the scene, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
last couple years, I think it would have been uh more well received coming from like a Pat or even like I know Howard, right? But like Howard doesn't do the interview. It almost seems like, and because of the circle of players that was, and not saying it's an inner circle thing, the players that were chosen, it seemed like, oh, it's almost like a circle of friends. But
Oh yeah, I can
but to be
understand that.
but to be real, like Clicks kind of is that way, because all there's not a lot of high level players that aren't friends in this community
Or don't know each other
or
through
don't
some.
know each
Yeah,
other. No, but
yeah,
like I'm friends with PJ. I'm friends with Easton. I'm friends with Paris. I'm friends with you. I'm friends with Pat. I'm friends with George. I'm friends with Dan. Like
yeah.
we may not always see eye to eye, but we're adults. We don't have
Exactly.
to.
We don't
You know
have
what I
to,
mean?
right? And
Yeah. So
and I think that's something too. Is like our world championship. I think max is out at like 300 players, and if you
yeah,
you take the top 10% of those people, that's 30 players.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
30 players. So if you were able to name off 30 winners, and then they're able to show up over multiple years,
yeah,
then you can say it's like, yeah, that's one of your best players. I can always make the argument, at least in the last 5 years, I've been on the top side of cut.
yeah.
Every major tournament I've gone to, I've been on top side of cut.
I've not miscut very often. I'll say that, and that includes at Worlds.
Now,
And that's not me saying I've never won. I'm probably never gonna win. I know where I stand as a player. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm good with it. It's like, but that's not all of it though either. You know what I mean? Like I said, you have different ways. They need to have different ways to get in and just clearly define criteria. And I think that it would be a lot better received.
I'm betting you in 4 years from now, it's going to be there.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of your critiques will come to fruition and be to handled. I know the main reason Lucas interviewed me
Yeah.
was that Lucas is pretty much doing all the writing for The Rock.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm aware of that. And
So,
that's
so
why I said like I'm not saying like Lucas isn't qualified or something like that, but I think just
yeah, I get it.
for
It's
the
like a
for the optics of it.
interviews Edward. Yeah, I can see how that's a look.
Yeah.
I get you.
Uh, McConnell Lamar says, "Why do you think we haven't seen more Proteus, green or orange, being played in online tournaments?
Oh, I know why that is.
Why is that?"
Oh, I know why that is. Number one, you have to look at where everything shifted real fast. Go back to what I said. Uh, orange, sorry, not orange lantern. Because you got orange and green Proteus in my head, shifting to a different map. But look, Chase Widow popped off. Anybody with a power that is not on dial all of a sudden became a liability.
Uh-huh.
You factor in the next level, which is the people that were burned on the, I think it was Green Proteus ruling, are
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they uploaded all their stuff, not thinking about this brand new day that's currently here. Okay. And then last but not least, Monster nor Ruler requires Proteus still. Okay. And that's a big deal. Can they use Proteus? Yes. Does Proteus have a place? Yes. But do you require it? No. He's fully optional now, which is great if you're a monster player. But if you're looking at Proteus, does that mean Proteus is bad? No. And you have to deal with the realities of Tri-Sentinel blasting your butt from across the map, because that's possible. And you also still have to deal with the reality of a Chewy flurrying, 8 Proteuses that you got stuck in the back. So when it comes down to utility, no one's really thought about how to maximize orange Proteus or how to maximize a single green
Yeah.
Proteus. It's not there.
Yeah. You were seeing it a little bit in the beginning. I think part of it too is like people want to play with their new toys, right? You got your new toys. I think again, like to your point, the Black Widow kind of is like, well, if your team built around Proteus, she's just gonna hard counter it, right? That's kind of tough. Um, I think there's not enough players that are positionally sound enough where they're gonna make the best decisions with the where they should place their stuff, and that's not shit talking.
No,
Um,
you're right.
it's a fact. It's a fact.
It is true.
Yeah, people are
Like,
used to playing with their safety nets, right? Like the resources and entities, and those are safety nets. You know what I mean? And that's for and what I mean by that is like ID cards, colossal retaliators. They, and I touched on this earlier, will bail you out when you mess up, right? Yeah, they can be used very offensively, but they will also bail you out when you mess up.
they
And
punish aggression and they do
yeah,
not reward defense.
right. And the thing is with figures like Proteus, where you place your stuff super, super, super matters.
Yes.
And people have gotten too used to being able to bail themselves out, like, well, I'll just use this retaliator, or well, I'll just use this ID card, to where they're not placing where they should be placed, you know.
Right. And even more so, like real briefly, go relook at number 14 Proteus, which is, I think it's Green Proteus. Um, he had super senses. Widow says, no, you don't. Okay. He has to hit, and then when he hits, the chosen character then do also targeting all after opposing characters within 3 squares of line of fire. Hit characters gain immobile until your next turn. I'm sorry that you just gave me immobile and I can shoot you. No, That's not helpful. Okay.
Yeah.
Then when you look at Orange Proteus, while Orange Proteus has Battle Fury, he has a 10 attack. Same thing. You could just be like, yep, your Colossal Retaliation is gone because it's not on dial. It's not on dial power. It's gone. Hey, your stop click that also stops you also from I think is he can't attack smaller figures, which
Well,
could be backfire,
uh,
but
well, Black Widow stopped standard powers, so they can
standard
still
power.
retaliate.
All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
well, yeah, he can still retaliate. I take that back. So you're not getting your money out of that 20-point Proteus in most situations because when you go in Colossal Retaliate, it's like hit character gets 2 fear tokens. Even if this power is lost, characters with fear tokens must roll a d6 when making an attack and negatively modify their attack value by half the result, then remove 1 fear token. You're talking about after you punch me in the face, I hit you, and then you get to roll what your debuff is instead of it being static. And HeroClix players on average hate chaos.
hmm
They hate chaos. And if you're able to leverage chaos to against your opponent, you can beat a lot of cerebral players because they cannot anticipate fully their next turn what their
yeah,
values are going to be in their calculations. But that's the issue. You have to be a player that embraces chaos. And most high-end players aren't that. I'm not saying you can't be a chaos-focused player and not be a winner. But what I am saying is if you're going to leverage the advantages of the piece as a retaliator, you need to think completely different. If you're going to think about playing them at higher points, I'm sorry. You are going to have... HeroClix players are lazy. Most of them are lazy. They're
that's true.
going to clone what's popular.
I'm
I've seen
lazy.
Attack of the Clones for years. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. You have the creatives that can't play standard, and then you have everybody else that plays standard. Okay, all right. So when it comes down to it, until someone makes that Proteus build and wins, no one's
Nobody's
gonna
gonna
think
play.
about Proteus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you see that to your point, like with the Quinjet in the bronze format, right? The only person winning with Quinjet was Steve, for the most part,
And
right?
Majestic, yeah.
Yeah, just as an example, right? So it's like it's not one of those things where just anybody can play it, man. That thing's decision heavy,
Right.
like myself, I can't play Goblin King. I don't play tent poles. That's not my stuff. I tried it once, went 0-3. That is not my style.
Oh man,
I
Black Panther same is rough for me too. I have to learn. I
yeah,
had to learn how to do it.
I'm a mechanics player. I like to play mechanics. I do like to build. I do team build. But for like I said, I'm a defensive and a positional player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are my strengths as a player. The more pieces I can position, the better for me because that's my advantage,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's my strength. So, like, it's tough, man. It's really tough to play these sorts of figures effectively. It just is. The last question is from our own AJ. First off, he says hi to everybody. If you recently read our blog or his blog post that he shared to our page, AJ is likely leaving the game somewhat, not completely, but
Mm-hmm.
he is selling a lot of stuff. So on a plug, he just put a lot of stuff up for sale. He wants to get into Warhammer. After reading his post, I encouraged him to actually do it because I think your own happiness is important. Right now, he's not happy playing HeroClix. He's not having a positive experience, and I think if that's the case, he should go do something else. He's not totally leaving HeroClix behind. He's keeping stuff. He'll still come on. He'll still help out with the show. He's forever part of the team here. So just to be very clear, but he wants to know your thoughts on rotation. Uh, how does COVID affect it, etc.
Okay, number one, uh, I think rotation is good. I think depending on your state, playing locally will be either a horrible experience or getting closer to how it was before. I know I live in Oklahoma. They're a little bit more like we got plenty of space here for everybody. We
Yeah,
need more people here. And so their mindset is like, look, dude, try to have some level of keeping X amount of people inside. It has to be at this level, and then you're good. They don't micromanage any of this stuff. All our local players, we read, which is important, and we read news, and we have medical professionals that are in our group. Just like, shout out to Jamie Jordan, medical professional. Be like, we wear masks. Heck, when all this was popping off, I was wearing a mask. I was wearing a mask and gloves, came in there with my eyewear in Lysol. I sprayed the door on my way in and out. Okay.
You did a way to properly sanitize stuff.
Sanitize, yeah. I still, like, I even now even say, it's like, look, in the current environment, the virus can live up to 4 days. You know what I do? I pack up my Clix. When I finish playing locally, I leave everything in my bag, and I do not look at my Clix until that following Saturday.
Yeah. There you go.
I know. If you don't want to dip your stuff in water and hydrogen peroxide and all that stuff, just don't touch your stuff for 4 days. It all dies.
Anyways, because I'm lazy.
Yeah. I still have my gloves. I still have, my hand sanitizer. I wear my mask. I can't wear the eyewear because that's just it. I know it's a point of weakness, but like after 2 hours playing HeroClix, like your nose is on fire. But if you are careful and you see somebody sneezing, just be like, yo, dude, for I'll give you $5. Just go home. If it's that bad. Other than that, I try not to have folks touch my figures. I don't touch other folks' figures. And even if folks touch my map and my figures and all that stuff, again, I don't touch it for 7 days. When I order HeroClix, I don't touch them for at least a week. I know that sounds stupid and weird, but I don't, because I don't know the difference in time between when it got sent to the time of arrival. I mean, you can track it, and sometimes it's right and sometimes it's not. But I just let it sit for a week. I don't need it immediately.
It doesn't hurt you. Yeah, it doesn't hurt
you. It doesn't hurt me. Yeah, just take some precautions. The more thing that I'm concerned about with people is the report saying is more people got caught coronavirus inside. And it's primarily is people don't learn from some of the Asian countries. And it's not racist, it's legitimate. Is number one, you brought all these groceries in that everybody coughed and sneezed on. You didn't sanitize it. You walked and tracked in 80 different types of particles. You didn't wipe down your doorway every time you enter or exit your dwelling. Every time you re-enter your dwelling. I do that. I take my shoes off at my door. I have a little rug that holds my shoes. And I put my shoes on the door. I don't walk around my house in my tennis shoes. No, I refuse to. Yeah, because you bring all that filth outside. And definitely for me, I live in an apartment. People let their dogs crap all over the place. So by proxy, if I don't do that, I'm tracking some other type of weird disease from some dog because folks is freaking trifling. And I have the window out and I'm yelling, I'm doing it on purpose. They don't clean up after their dang dogs.
I got dogs. They live inside, bro. They're outside to go to the bathroom and eat.
Yeah, that's fine.
Where I work.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, I got hardwood floor. We clean it. It's a lot easier to clean the carpet. I'll tell you that. We sweep it, we mop it. Well, not mop it, but whatever. You clean it with the cleaner. Mm-hmm. It's not a big deal. I don't want to wear my shoes all day, anyways. I got it's 106 yesterday. 106 here.
Dude, it's
you think I want to be wearing some sweaty ass shoes when I'm inside my house? Hell no. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's hot here, and I had the fan going on in the background. And the only reason I don't have the air on because it's killing my house plant, so I can only do the air when I'm going to sleep at night.
Lord, it's too hot for that.
Well, I'm gardening inside, so
I got you. You.
Yeah,
we got our little garden in the backyard, but it's hard to do in the apartment. I hear you.
It's an apartment, dude.
All right, Edward. Well, thanks for coming on. That wraps the show. Any shout outs or anything you want to do?
Shout out to my boy Lucas Van Hollen. Got into the finals of the Texas Shootout. Shout out to Esteban too. No hate, dog. You took out. You had a rough road. We were joking in Discord calling you the dark horse, dude. Props to you. Other than that, shout out to my Clixman bros. Y'all recruited a couple of good guys. I know Phoenix Nest, we're picking up some people, so shout out to y'all too. Other than that, hey, enjoy Clix. You know, I learned how much money I could save in these last few months.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Yeah. In fact, I'm learning right now. I just sold. I'm trying to get that new computer money. I'm up $500 already, bro.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Yeah. So, and, yep. Thanks again for coming on, everybody else. Stay safe. Enjoy your time. Hopefully, you get a hold of some Justice League Unlimited, or some Black Widow. Or hey, has anybody got any Black Widow bikes? Let me know. I still haven't seen one. Um, other than that, we'll talk to you guys next time. And remember, the real fun begins when you're 2 clicks from KO.